Well, it's time for business, and there's some good news from the Jubilee field, and Emmanuel Bajira is here with the details. Hello, Emma. So yes. Tullow says the repairs they're doing to the turret bearing.
Yes, if you could remember, for the past 2 years, we've had persistent challenges with the turret bearing system of the FPSO.
Which has resulted in disruptions to production.
In production of oil. But the group CEO of Tullow says it is finally over.
Well, he just got promoted, actually.
Yes.
The group CEO, he got promoted to group CEO.
Well, he's the group CEO, is not Paul Kwekwa.
Oh, it's not Kwekwa. All right, okay, you take it away.
Thanks. Good evening and welcome to business. Tullow Oil says it has brought to an end challenges with the Jubilee FPSO turret bearing system. The equipment has been under maintenance for some time now and has resulted in the shutdown of oil production on the Jubilee field intermittently. The situation impacted negatively on oil production, tax payments and power production in the country. Paul McDade is Group Chief Executive of Tullow Oil. He gave the assurance in an interview with George Riafi.
I think the challenges we had on Jubilee, we've closed the page and now Jubilee is stable and up and running. What you should be aware of is the recent shutdown in 10 was a planned shutdown. It was a maintenance shutdown. We do roughly every 2 years. We shut the facility down for 10 days or 12 days to safely check the maintenance, check the facilities and make sure they continue as fit for purpose. That's a critical part of looking after your assets so that they are there in 10 years' time and 20 years' time and operating just as efficiently then as they are now. So that recent shutdown was actually a planned maintenance shutdown. And what you'll see is we, every couple of years we'll shut the facility down to do that maintenance.
For the turret bearing issue, we've closed the page.
Yeah, on Jubilee, we've now got the vessel spread moored, and the turret is, Kwekwa was saying, is stabilised and it's back to normal operations on Jubilee.
We should be excited.
I think I'm always excited here. I mean, I think what's exciting is the high level of production that we're seeing from offshore. Over 170,000 barrels a day. And as I say, we're driving to see if we can get it up towards our target of 180.
Let's still stay with petroleum because the lack of reliable data and low level of documentation on oil exploratory fields continues to have a negative impact on efforts by government to bargain higher returns from global oil exploration companies. The situation has compelled the Ministry of Energy to conduct a strategic legislative review for the oil and gas industry. The review process, which has begun with stakeholders and industry players, seeks to examine the government's new policy to accelerate growth in the sector to help meet its production target of 1 million barrels of oil per day. Here's Energy Minister John Peter Amewu at a stakeholder meeting in Accra.
According to Energy Minister John Peter Amewu, the recent bidding process for some oil blocks in the Western region has not been satisfactory as a result of challenges including gaps in the legislative instrument as well as low quality of data on the blocks. According to him, the consultation is significant as it would help evaluate new strategies for accelerated growth of the oil and gas industry to make room for the country's existing regulatory framework and practices.
Our basins, as you are all aware, are largely not completely de-risked. Significant data gaps and low data quality still exist. And many companies continue to cite our fiscal regimes as a disincentive to attract global fund of capital for investment. The recent results of our first licensing round, although not satisfactory in terms of the response rate, has confirmed the fears about developing the industry and the risks associated with the frontier areas.
He, however, stated that there was the need for new initiatives to harness the great potentials in the sector for win-win arrangements and noted current laws do not favor the growth agenda of a government.
Our medium target of 500,000 barrels and a long-term target of 1 million barrels is still achievable. The strategy will pave way for review of our existing regulatory framework and practices. The old ways of doing things will no longer become visible. This will include the development of new regulations and amendment of some of the provisions. This change will ensure that the regulations are aligned to our policies and strategies. Laws must be informed by policies and strategies and not the other way around. Therefore, with an evolving industry and changing policies, our laws must be effectively responsive to the dynamics.
The workshop was to lay bare the ministry's vision of a way forward in the industry and gather the views of other participants to inform and solicit inputs to review and align the framework of an industry to the objectives of a sector. Ebenezer Sabute's report for Joy Business.
Let's turn away from petroleum now. Shareholders of Unilever Ghana are getting dividends of 80 pesos per share after the company recorded performance for 2018. Edward Ifa is the board chairman of Unilever Ghana Limited, who he declared the dividends and was approved by shareholders of the companies at the company's 45th annual general meeting held in Accra.
Well, the company recorded improved performance for the 2018 financial year compared to that of 2017. Revenues were up by 10%, largely driven by a 20% recovery in sales volumes from the foods and refreshments line through a price correction of the Lipton Yellow Label. Edward Ifa is the chairman of Unilever Ghana Limited.
Operating profit before tax was 250 million cedis, representing a 283% increase over 2017 65 million. Profit after tax therefore improved by 296% to 191 million compared to 48 million in 2017. Included in the operating profit for the year is an amount of 89 million being profit on disposal of the spreads business, which was disposed of in 2018, and a reversal of management and technical services fees provision amounting to 111 million cedis. Dividend. The board of directors hereby propose a dividend payout of 80 Ghana pesos per share from the 2018 profits, amounting in total to 50 million Ghana cedis.
The board chairman was speaking at the 45th annual general meeting of Unilever Ghana Limited. Meanwhile, the company also saw an increase in its balance overdraft. This the chairman attributed to the banking sector shake-up, which he says affected their distributors.
I think everybody in Ghana witnessed the challenges in the banking sector where a number of banks collapsed and they were consolidated. And with the collapse and consolidation of some 11 banks, which reduced the number of banks from 34 to 23, resulted in a lot of Ghanaians, customers of all those banks, not having access to the money in those banks. As a result, this affected our distributors. We had a number of distributors and traders and others who had money in those banks and therefore couldn't have the liquidity to carry on the business as normal. So we responded by having to promote our business by offering credit lines and providing, serving them with credit. So that was the disruption. We expect to see a rebound and a reduction in that in 2019 because the banking sector is more solid and credit expansion is increasing.
The 2018 statement also noted the company had embarked on investment of more than 39 million Ghana cedis in areas of biomass boiler, heating and oral onshore projects to improve efficiency of the company. For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklu.
The managing director of Zenith Bank Ghana, Henry Oro, is confident of improved tax compliance if the GRA adopts new e-platform methods of tax payments. Speaking at the maiden edition of the Zenith SMEs and Corporate Breakfast Forum, Henry Oro stated the financial sector is ready to improve compliance in the country.
Zenith Bank Ghana is partnering the Ghana Revenue Authority GRA to ensure tax compliance in the country. At the maiden edition of the Zenith SMEs and Corporate Breakfast Forum, Managing Director for Zenith Bank, Henry Oro, says the move is to make tax collection very easy and flexible to penetrate the informal sector through the bank's e-platform services.
We are doing a lot in this regard with the GRA. Been quite a lot of reforms in recent times, and we know that in the last 2 years, critical around this reform is the digitization plan of the GRA, where the GRA tend to make collection of tax very easy are very accessible to the taxpayer. And Zenith, along those lines, because we are built on a digital platform, Zenith is an e-bank, and we run most of our operations through the e-platform.
Meanwhile, Commissioner General of the GRA, Emmanuel Kofi Nti, revealed that new tax reforms targeting the informal sector will also help improve upon tax compliance.
These reforms are meant to motivate and encourage the private sector to thrive, to be able to contribute the appropriate tax revenues to the state to push our development agenda. It has always been said that the private sector is the engine of growth in this country. I am inclined to believe that the theme for this breakfast forum, empowering the private sector to maximize revenue through compliance with Ghana's tax reforms, is in line with the statement that the private sector is the engine for growth. It is therefore very apt and appropriate. I wish to draw your attention to the mission of Ghana Revenue Authority, which is to mobilize revenue for national development in a transparent, fair, effective, and efficient manner.
The Zenith SMEs and Corporates Breakfast Forum focused on tax compliance for successful business operations. It was also themed empowering the private sector to maximize revenue through compliance with Ghana's tax reforms.
In our local wrap tonight, Power Distribution Services PDS says it has lost about 86 million Ghana cedis in its Lower Manya Krobo municipality over non-payment of bills by customers in the last 5 years. We'll tell you more in the local news segment.
Goil Company Limited says it is going to invest about $25 million in a joint operating agreement with multinational oil exploration firm ExxonMobil for the Deepwater Cape 3 Points area oil exploration in the next 5 years. This, the company said, will be done through its wholly owned subsidiary, Goil Offshore Company Limited, and its exploration activities in the Deepwater Cape 3 Points area. Power Distribution Services PDS says it has lost about 86 million Ghana cedis in the Lower Manya Krobo municipality over the non-payment of bills by customers in the last 5 years. PDS's concerns come amid the unrest in the municipality as it engages in a mass disconnection exercise. GCB Bank says it plans to expand its operation into the West Africa sub-region, beginning with the English-speaking countries. The bank is also exploring with a foreign partner to form a joint venture to provide insurance products.
That's all for now. I'll be back with more business in the second round.